here is, I mean, let's start with Jeff Sessions, okay? Let me just tell you how effing dumb and despicable both these human beings are. Laura Ingraham and Jeff Sessions. All right? Again, when you find yourself having to defend a policy by saying it's not as bad as the Nazis, or it's not consistent with what the Nazis did, at that point, you should just stop yourself and look in the mirror and say, there's something really wrong here.
Not playing for the right team.
I mean, there's just something wrong with me as a human being. Here's Laura Ingraham and Jeff Sessions having that exact conversation, and then we'll talk about why, on top of the fact that they're despicable human beings, they're also morons.
Nazi Germany, concentration camps, human rights violations. Laura Bush has weighed in, Michelle Obama, Rosalind Carter, got all the first ladies going back to Eleanor Roosevelt. She's apparently weighed in as well. General Sessions, what's going on here?
Well, it's a real exaggeration. Of course, in Nazi Germany, they were keeping the Jews from leaving the country. But this is a serious matter. We need to think it through.
Pause it for a second. Let me tell this effing moron something, okay? The chief law enforcement officer of the United States about the Jews not being able to leave. Many of you may be familiar with the fact that the gassing and burning and killing of 6 million Jews was the final solution of the Nazis. Let me tell you what the first solution of the Nazis was. In 1938, expulsion started just before the Wannsee Conference shifted policy to extermination. You understand? The reason why the final solution was extermination is because they couldn't expel the Jews, because in 1939, when the deportation started, first they went to Poland, but then of course they invaded Poland, and so the Jews were still there. Jews sent to Hungary were sent back, Austrian Jews, and so on. They expelled the Jews and then they were sent back, and then the Jews weren't being taken. So Jeff Sessions, aside from having to try and find a difference between his policy and the Nazis' one, couldn't come up with one. Incidentally, that information was confirmed by the guy who plays Archer, John Benjamin, whose thesis was actually on those attempts to deport the Jews.
Didn't Hitler want to deport the Jews to Madagascar?
He was looking for a lot of different places, but they couldn't do it. So let's go back. Does Jeff Sessions have anything else to say, or is that basically the gist of the clip? Let's just listen to the rest of this guy's, this moron's talk. And Laura Ingraham, I mean, what a despicable human being. What a despicable way to make a dollar.
What's going on here?
Well, it's a real exaggeration. Of course, in Nazi Germany, they were keeping the Jews from leaving the country. But this is a serious matter. We need to think it through, be rational and thoughtful about it. We want to allow asylum for people who qualify for it, but people who want...
Incidentally, a week or two ago, they just narrowed the qualifications, right? Domestic abuse, fear of gang violence no longer constitute a reason for asylum. That's the game, right? We only let people in who qualify for asylum. What do you need to qualify for asylum? You need to be 11 feet tall. Sorry.
Asylum for people who qualify for it, but people who want economic migration for their personal financial benefit and what they think is their family's benefit is not a basis for a claim of asylum.
Oh, if you don't have access to food or safety, sorry. You're coming here. We gotta really, really cut back on all these immigrants who are coming in, and you know what they're doing? They're soaking up all the lottery winnings. Just despicable. What a just a horrible, racist human being. But wait, there's more. He's not the only despicable racist in the administration. This is is he acting?
Yeah, acting.
The acting director of, is it ICE or what are we calling that? Stasi now? This is the acting director of ICE. Incidentally, and I'm not the one who came up with this. I think it was that guy. It was McElwee. Sean McElwee. A significant portion of the people that this guy's organization deports have been in this country longer than the existence of that organization. When ICE deports someone who's been in this country for 20 years, understand that ICE has only been around for about 15. Just to be clear. Fortunately, they don't have a long and storied history of being Stasi.
No.
But here he is again. Hey, at least we're not Nazis.
And thank you for joining us. You've heard prominent people compare your behavior to that of the Nazis, to that of the Roosevelt administration in turning the Japanese during World War II. How do you respond?
I think it's an insult to the brave men and women of the Border Patrol and ICE to call law enforcement officers the Nazis. They're simply enforcing laws enacted by Congress. You know, I wish that there was this much outrage about separation of families. I wish I heard this much outrage when we met with angel mothers and fathers whose children were killed by illegal aliens, Jewish citizen children killed and separated from their families forever. I never heard this outrage. So I think people on the Hill...
Pause it. Actually, no, I think what we saw in those instances were people actually taken to trial and prosecuted.
Yeah, that's what we saw.
I am perfectly willing to make that trade. We will continue to prosecute anybody who murders somebody else, and then we will prosecute all of you. We'll start with you as the acting head of this body, and then we will prosecute everyone in middle management and on down. We were just following orders, is his address to the charge that we're not Nazis, we're following orders.
We're like the exact opposite because the Nazis didn't follow orders. They were like renegades.
Right. They didn't even have uniform. Oh. Unbelievable. Is there any more to this? God.
So we don't have any of this scumbag doing his like, why do they call you that? We don't have any of that, do we?
Oh.
God. All right, good.
Yeah, the real Nazis are the ones calling them Nazis for
right.
concentrating people into camps.
I didn't hear anybody expressing outrage when there were murders. Really? No? Like these people just, what would they do? They celebrated? Were they honored? Were they honored? These?
Oh my God, Hector got another white girl in San Francisco. Let's bring him to the Stevie Wonder concert at the White House.
Incidentally, that case in San Francisco, that person was exonerated.
And it was a total lie.
We're about to speak to the parent of one of those children killed in the way you described. Did you notice cable news anchors or Democratic politicians swooping in to comfort those families when their kids were killed?
No, I didn't. You know, the media the last few days, I've been incensed by the purposeful, the intentional misleading of the American people by politicians. And they say that the Trump administration wants to use these children as political pawns. The Trump administration isn't down there having political sideshows with these children and talking about this issue. The Trump administration wants Congress to fix this, and Congress has the authority to fix it. But what no one's talking about is the underlying reason for this whole argument. Are these families really escaping fear and persecution? The Immigration Court has said in the last year and a half, over 80% of these claims are frivolous. So first of all, we got to attack the very foundation.
No, they're not frivolous. They just don't qualify. And then what happens? They get sent back. There's a process. And just when we put you on trial, we're not going to predetermine the outcome. We're going to allow you to stand trial for your crimes against humanity. It would be unjust to simply say, hey, look, we were able to find guilty verdicts against these other people, so Homan must be guilty. No, you will get a trial. The law says that people get a hearing, even if 8 out of 10 get rejected. Continue.
They're arguing these people are coming to this country. These parents themselves are using these children as pawns to gain entry to the United States, knowing that we can't detain them. And as far as the separation of families are concerned, you have to put the blame on the parents. They are choosing to enter between the ports of entry. They know they will be separated, but they want to blame the government when we were forced to do that. So let's put the blame where it lies, not on the fine men and women of the Border Patrol and ICE. We're enforcing the law.
You guys are scumbags.
Absolute scumbags. You should all be in prison and ashamed of yourselves, socially shunned. It's disgusting.
Yeah. I'm not one for carceral solutions, but if anyone belongs in a gulag, it's the people who are doing this. Seriously.
We got all that infrastructure.
Look at that. That guy, that Thomas Homan, such a scumbag that you've even got Jamie calling for the erection of prisons to hold people like you. That's how horrible you are.
Maybe put him in his own prisons.
Exactly.
Save a little money.
There you go. Not even build new ones. Just empty out the ones and just...
For-profit prisons where the profits go to, like, DSA.
That's
the profits get redistributed to... Okay, the profits go to DSA, the guards are from MS-13, and he has to listen to Ani DeFranco all day.
And for those idiots who want to call in and tell me that this is just following the law, right? Who don't think this was just simply a decision, a choice to be made. Let's travel back in time. Almost a year plus ago, in fact, more than a year and 2 months ago, right around the time where they had developed this thing called video. And in March of 2017, video had been developed, and John Kelly went on to something called cable news, a network called CNN. And he was the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. And he had this idea about what he could do. Not because he had to follow the rule of law, because why would you even possibly contemplate sitting there on national television saying, like, I'm not sure if I should follow the rule of law or not? No, it was a policy decision. Let's listen to John Kelly way before he was pretending that he doesn't care if Donald Trump gets impeached because he thinks he's on the outs and he wants to seem like a human being once he gets out of this administration. Back when he thought his future was in this administration, and it's like not that relevant that he's considered a human being. In fact, it's an asset to be considered a scumbag. Here he is talking to Wolf Blitzer.
Considering a new initiative that would separate
Pause
children.
it. A new initiative. This is a new initiative. Is it going to be a new way of following the rule of law, or is it just going to be a new policy, a new initiative? It's so disruptive, literally.
Considering a new initiative that would separate children from their parents if they try to enter the United States illegally.
Let me start by saying I would do almost anything to deter the people from Central America to getting on this very, very dangerous network that brings them up through Mexico into the United States. And I would underline that the Mexicans are...
Pause it. Would you advocate for more funding in these governments? Would you advocate for funding for NGOs to go down there and help them? Would you advocate for maybe stop deporting gang members to these countries and developing the gangs there? I mean, would you advocate for economic help so that there was some competition to working with cartels? I mean, what exactly? Would you do anything, or just like the easy, most cruel things that you could do?
This network in the same way we are. It's extremely dangerous. I wouldn't say 100%, but certainly in the high 90%. And this is by the social service organizations that inform me from Central America that the vast majority of the young women, all women, are sexually abused along this trip. But my point is...
Let me just be precise.
Right.
If you get some young kids who are coming in, managed to sneak into the United States with their parents. Our Department of Homeland Security personnel going to separate the children from their moms and dads.
We have tremendous experience in dealing with unaccompanied minors. We turn them over to HHS, and they do a very, very good job of either putting them in kind of foster care or linking them up with parents or family members in the United States. Yes, I am considering, in order to deter more movement along this terribly dangerous network, I am considering exactly that. They will be well cared for as we deal with their parents.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. That is some next level concern trolling.
Yeah, not to mention, he also doesn't say the word asylum seekers, which they're doing it to, right?
Like, just admit that you don't care about these people.
No, I'm so concerned. I'm so concerned that there's going to be abuse there, that I'm doing it for their sake.
Maybe you people don't care, but I'm like super like radically concerned about human trafficking and whatnot. Like they take like these broads over borders and whatever. So the answer is you got to rip babies out of their mother's arms, or like the cartels win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Wolf? You're a Jew. You're able to think abstractly.